Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
How about the start to this 2015 season? In the opener, Todd Frazier with the big home run, the game winner, clubbed another in the win last night. And then very, very late into the night, or early this morning, more accurately, Joey Votto, the base hit in the 11th. Reds win by a run, plating Zach Kozart in a one-run decision to go to 2-0 on the year. So we welcome you back after a brief time away from one another. Great American Ballpark, downtown Cincinnati, the finale of this season opening series between the Pirates and the Reds. And the Reds are gunning for the 3-game sweep. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day and our entire Fox Sports Ohio crew, I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us on this Thursday afternoon. A big day, the Reds debut for Anthony DeSclafani today. What can you tell us after watching him in spring training?
Well, you know, Tom, it's probably worth taking a step back and thinking about all the emotions that might be going through his head and body right now because, I mean, after all, he's new to a ball club. He's got high expectations after taking the place of Matt Latos in the rotation. He was acquired from the Marlins in that Latos deal. He had a spring training, so he's gotten to know some of the guys, but still, he wants to stick in the major leagues as a starter, but he also realizes how important his spot in this rotation is. He's got a good fastball, a very good slider. His changeup is still a work in progress, but that's a pitch that he's going to throw mostly to left-handers. But I like the way that he can get that ball up there velocity-wise, anywhere from 93 to 97 miles an hour. So he's a strong-arm right-hander. Let's hope his command is as good as it was for most of the games during spring training.
All right, his mount opponent is going to be A.J. Burnett, who's racked up 155 wins in his career. Can the Reds sweep this opening series? We're about to find out.
to be tough going today at the old ballpark. We do expect showers and thunderstorms around the area through the afternoon. Hopeful we can somehow squeeze this one in today. It's not going to be impossible. It just might be tough. We do expect showers and thunderstorms around, temperatures into the 70s for the game today. It could be a little rough going at times, though, with these thunderstorms roaming about the area. Enjoy the game right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
All righty, we will indeed say our prayers. Keep our fingers crossed right now. Bright and sunny, no problems whatsoever. As the Reds have taken the field defensively to take on the Pirates, and we take a look at Clint Hurdle's starting lineup. Presented by Lexus. And really the same group they've had the first two games of this season, with the exception of the catching position. Tony Sanchez will bat eighth and catch the right-hander A.J. Burnett. Anthony DeSclafani pitched in 13 games at the big league level a season ago. 5 of those, Mr. Welsh, as a starter.
Well, you're right, and then that was early in that season last year. Then he got moved to the bullpen. DeSclafani's being looked at as a starter, obviously, by the Reds ever since they acquired him from the Marlins. He's not afraid to use his fastball. In fact, you're going to see him throw a lot of fastballs today. He likes a two-seam variety, tries to run it down in the zone with good sinking action. His sliders is probably his next best pitch as far as his off-speed pitches go. But it's all about command of the fastball. He knows that, and he showed a couple of games in spring training where he had excellent command, a couple of others where he struggled a little bit.
All right, here we go. The Cincinnati native, Princeton High School and University of Cincinnati grad Josh Harrison digging in. And the first pitch, as a read by DeSclafani, is in there, a strike, and we are underway. DeSclafani, 24 years young, born and raised in New Jersey. 6'1", 192-pounder. That one in the air to Jay Bruce, and a good start for the Reds right-hander. Let's take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. The same position players at all 8 spots. Interesting to note, it's the same 8 defenders behind the pitcher in each of the first 3 games of the year, going all the way back to 2002. We thank our statistician supreme, allegedly, Joe Luckham.
In other
that
words,
little tidbit.
In other words, no rest for the weary, either for Luckham or for the Reds who are in the lineup the first couple of days. Brian Price, I think, is trying to show that he is trying to be consistent as possible. Not one of these is just going to experiment with lineups just for the purpose of experimenting. He had to last year because of all the injuries.
And an injured bunch indeed it was. Here's Polanco. Fastball away. The Reds started the season, you may remember, before the first pitch was thrown, with 8 players on the disabled list, and there were some big-time names on that list. Driven into right center field. Bruce had him played that way. 2 gone. Anthony DeSclafani, originally drafted by the Boston Red Sox, did not sign in 2008. Toronto drafted him in the 6th round of 2011. He did sign. Was involved in that huge deal between the Marlins and the Blue Jays. Mark Burley in that trade, Jose Reyes among many, many others. And then came over with catcher Chad Wallach for right-hander Matt Latos on December the 11th, 2014. Here's McCutchen. 1-1. 2 hits and 9 at bats so far in the series for McCutchen. One of them a home run. Three balls and a strike to the Pirate All-Star center fielder, and he will draw the 2-out walk. Reds pitchers, by and large, had very, very good control a season ago. First 2 games so far this year, primarily this would be Mike Leake as the culprit, but now 9 walks through 2 games and 1 inning.
Well, 3 of the walks, I think, yesterday, weren't they intentional walks? And then you had the one walk by Johnny Cueto, which he later admitted that it was an intentional walk. He walked Cervelli on 4 pitches. It was kind of odd for Cueto to do that, and he admitted later that he meant to. They had pretty good control over the spring. It wasn't like anybody had any real wildness, although there was some times when DeSclafani had some trouble finding the strike zone, especially in that start that he had against the Blue Jays, his last start up in Montreal.
Pull the string there on Neil Walker. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, the learning curve, I think, rests on the hitters the first time a hitter sees a pitcher. Now, they may have seen each other before once or twice somewhere along the line, but until you get a feel of a guy, you're just trying to go up there, seeing the ball and hit the ball, rather than guessing along with the pitchers, thinking what you're going to get in a certain count, what his go-to pitch is against you.
Two and 1 to Walker. McCutchen 18 stolen bases in 21 tries a season ago. In the air, left center field. Bird is there, and that's all for the Pirates. DeSclafani, a scoreless opening inning in the Reds rotation. Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy. Check out our award-winning lineup only at your tri-state Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Take a look at the Reds starting lineup presented by Meyer. Hamilton in center. He had 3 hits, 3 steals in a game last night. Votto, the hero, with a game-winning single to right in the 11th inning. Frazier bats third. Mesoraco, Bruce, and Bird in the middle. Phillips, Cozart, DeSclafani against 38-year-old right-hander. Has already announced this will be his final season in the major leagues. Been around a long time and had a good career. A.J. Burnett
has 16 years to be exact. In fact, he's already had 16 appearances against the Reds in that long major league career. Finds himself 5 games over 500 career-wise, hovering right around 4.0 for an earned run average.
Billy 4 out of 9 to begin the year. The 3-hit night last night also drew a walk, and he scored a run.
He's been right in the middle of all the Reds offense, really, and this is what the Reds rely on Billy Hamilton to do. That's one reason why they slumped so badly in the second half last year. Hamilton went south, and so did the wins on this ball club.
Burnett, originally drafted by the New York Mets, was involved in the Al Leiter trade in 1998 and then broke in at the big league level in '99 with the Marlins. Was there all the way until 2006. Signed as a free agent with Toronto. And later with the Yankees, swing and a miss by Hamilton, and that's the first outing in the bottom of the first inning.
You know, I think the interesting thing about Burnett is that he had an option last year with the Philadelphia Phillies, the team in which he pitched for last year, and went 8-18. And he turned that option down. That would have paid him $12.5 million. Instead, he took an $8.5 million one-year contract. So he essentially took a $4 million pay cut to play for a team that he did a couple of years ago that he thought could be a contender.
And Burnett was very good for these Pirates the 2 years he was there. In 2012, a 16-game winner. 10-11, a very good ERA in 2013 when they finally broke through and had a winning record for the first time in 20 years, and of course beat the Reds in the wild card. But last year, a disaster. Apparently pitched the entire year with a sports hernia. Did not tell anybody. And the numbers, as you see, ugly.
Well, that's from a standpoint of wins and losses especially. But if you start looking inside the numbers with him, they weren't really as bad as those numbers seem. I mean, he had fewer hits given up than innings pitched. He still struck out 190 batters. The Phillies got virtually no run support for him at all. And it was a dead team really from the get-go. And I'm not so sure his attitude actually helped over there. So that's one reason why I think he would take a pay cut to get out of Philadelphia back to Pittsburgh, where he had some success, where they really looked up to him as kind of a veteran leader of the pitching staff.
Votto, a pair of runs batted in last night, and boy, both of them were big. One to tie the game with a single in the 7th inning, and then a game winner in the 11th. Three and two on Joey Votto. And a broken bat, one hopper. That is the shortstop for out number 2. Pirates on defense, presented by Ford. Still Marte, McCutchen, Polanco in the outfield. Harrison, Mercer, Walker, and Alvarez, third to first. Cervelli the day off. Tony Sanchez the nod behind the plate. Todd Frazier, 3 hits and 9 at bats. 2 of the 3 hits home runs. Got one in the first inning here last night after breaking a 2-2 tie in the 8th inning with a 3-run home run on opening day. Burnett making his 405th career start, his 410th career appearance. Closing in on 2,600 career innings. Still 1-2 on Frazier.
There were a couple of years there where Burnett was just one of the best pitchers in the league. Had a year in which he had 5 complete games, I think second only to Randy Johnson. Always a high strikeout pitcher, nearly 2,300 strikeouts in his career.
Positioned perfectly, the second baseman Walker, and the inning is over. The Reds are gone in order. End of 1 on this Thursday afternoon in Cincinnati. No score.
Reds and Pirates. I'm Jim Day. Anthony DeSclafani, if you don't know, is a pitcher that came over in that Matt Latos trade, and he told me when he got the call about the trade, it was one of the best calls he ever received.
When this trade happened, once the trade happened, kind of sat back and kind of looked at the opportunity that the Reds were going to have, or I would have with the Reds. And, now that the time's here, it feels really good to, that I earned a rotation spot and that, I'm going to get the ball every 5 days and kind of go out there and, give myself a chance to prove that I'm a big league pitcher.
He's certainly going to have that opportunity every 5th day if he stays healthy. Brian Price from the get-go has raved about his stuff. We'll see how that opportunity of a lifetime turns out.
Well, a good start today. Granted, only 5 batters, but he's retired 4 of the 5. Walked McCutchen in the opening inning. No score here in the second, and now it's Pedro Alvarez. Alvarez one-hitted 6 at-bats. Had an RBI double in the game here last night. Strike 1. The first 2 games of this series have really been exciting games. Tight, late. Every inning last night where a team would take the lead, for the Reds 3 times, the Pirates 1 time. The very next half inning, the team that had fallen behind tied the game until the Reds had the final at bat in the 11th. Of course, opening day 2-0. Cueto is great. McCutchen the home run off Gregg to tie it. Bottom of that inning, Frazier hits a 3-run home run. And the Reds win it 5-2. Alvarez gone swinging. Now, Chris, for a lot of Reds fans, this is the very first time they've seen this young right-hander. Let's break it down a little bit, as you're so apt to do.
Well, he's got a fastball that he likes to sink, Tom. I think what really helps him is if you watch his delivery, he's got a little bit of a hesitation right there where he tilts his hip, and his arm is just a hair slow behind his body. That gives him some deception. I think that hitters have a tendency that they have to get used to. That and the fact he's got a strong arm. He throws low to mid-90s, sometimes even faster than that. And the other thing that jumps out at me about DeSclafani is that we'll talk about it when we come back.
streaming sports service celebrating now 13 years. Blackout or other restrictions, yes, they might apply. Check it out by visiting MLB.tv for details. Pirates go down in order in the second inning. The Reds were retired in order in the first. So here we go in the last of the second inning. No score, A.J. Burnett. To face Devin Mesoraco, Jay Bruce, and Marlon Byrd. Devin still looking for his first hit in this game number 3 of 2015. .25 home runs for Mesoraco, the most among all major league catchers last year, and he did it in just 114 games. He drove in 80. Former #1 pick out of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, and the Reds rewarded him with a 4-year contract during the offseason. Devin also got married during the offseason. Under the glove of Harrison, and there is hit #1 on the year for Devin Mesoraco.
Little two-seam fastball that Burnett gets up a little bit. Mesoraco, like he does so often, gets the barrel of the bat on it and pulls it to the left side. You know, it's nice to get that first one in, because those scoreboard letters that have your batting average up there seem to get bigger and bigger every time you take another over.
Jay Bruce. An swing, a foul ball, strike 1.
Yeah, Bruce is one guy that has not had a whole lot of success career-wise against Burnett. 3 for 27. That's a 111 batting average. Burnett throws a lot of slow breaking balls, and I have a feeling that that kind of teases Jay Bruce a little bit.
Pretty nice play right there by Tony Sanchez, preventing Mesoraco from advancing 90 feet. Jay behind, no balls, 2 strikes. And now time is called. You know, you get used to watching baseball for so long, and we're so fortunate and blessed to be able to do this for a living, and you watch games even at the big league level. Chris, for you as a player, you know, 28, 29 years I've been announcing now, and I guess I'm still just shocked in this series every time I look out at the defense of the Pirates. The dramatic shifts this team employs on virtually every single batter. They are never in the old standard defensive positions, or if they are, it's rare.
Well, take for instance the last at bat that Todd Frazier had. I mean, he hit a ball sharply right back through the middle, which every hitting coach is trying to teach you. Hit it back through the middle. Hit it at the worst fielder on the team, the pitcher. And he did. Goes right over the second base bag, and lo and behold, there's a second baseman. Doesn't even have to move to get to it. So with all the data that they have at their availability now, they might as well use it. And the Pirates aren't afraid. And if it happens to go against them one time, doesn't daunt them a bit. They're going to continue to stay with their game plan.
The defensive alignment right now would probably be the closest to the old school defense, if you will, and it's coming more and more old school virtually by the day. With Marlon Byrd now the batter.
Yeah, I think there's two parts of it, Tom. We talked about it a little bit last night. First part is the actual physical part of where the ball goes off the bat. You know, if a guy has a tendency to pull, he pulls the ball, there's more defensive players there. But the other part from the hitter standpoint, I'm wondering if it does get into the head of certain hitters that have never seen it before, and all of a sudden they look up and they see everybody crowded around over there, and he thinks to himself, boy, do I pull the ball over there that much? And now he starts wondering, should I try to hit it the other way, or should I stay with what's gotten me here?
I don't know if you'll know the answer to this question. Do you think they're doing a lot of that in the minor leagues?
No, I don't know that, and I don't think anywhere near what they would do up here because they don't have the scouting reports.
Sure. Although, you know, virtually every minor league game in the AA and AAA markets now, a ton of them are on television. There's a base hit by Marlon Byrd. He got his first last night, a little flare to left field, and this one through the left side, and the Reds have 2 on with 1 out, and Brandon Phillips coming up.
Well, take for instance what the Reds have done this year. They've decided to take their advanced scout off the road. Sean Pender no longer will travel out there to physically see teams in advance and write up a report. They're going to do all their advanced scouting on video, watching games on the internet, and of course going through all the numbers.
Phillips knocked in a run with a single to center field in the 4th inning here last night. That is Brandon's lone hit in 8 at bats so far. Low ball 1. So Mesoraco now in scoring position, the first player to be in that spot for either team early on today. Two on, 1 out, 1-1 pitch to Brandon Phillips is rolled foul. So now A.J. Burnett ahead of Brandon at 1 ball and 2 strikes. A leaner Brandon Phillips here in 2015. Dropped close to 15 pounds during the offseason. He knocked in 103 runs in 2013, but missed a lot of games last year, like many of his mates injured. Had just 8 home runs and 51 batted in. Stays alive on another roller foul at the third baseline.
You know, it's almost like at this stage in his career that A.J. Burnett is getting you out with a certain amount of imagination. He has a feel for his pitches. He used to throw much harder than he does now. Now his fastball's right around 90, 91, but he still has a good curveball. He still has an idea of moving the ball around. And he has a game plan out there. Has a changeup that goes down kind of like a splitter. Cuts the ball, moves the ball around.
Double play ball here. There's 1 and there's 2 to end the threat. 2 hits, 1 left. We play 2 and we are scoreless. Elko. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. The last time the Reds swept the Pirates, September of 12. Ryan Ludwig, a single to end it in the 14th inning. Jonathan Broxton picked up his first save as a Red the following day. And then J.J. Hoover on September the 12th notched his first career save. And put the Reds 30 games under 500. 11 and a half games was the lead in the division. That year is still a stinging ending to that season. When they have the Giants 2-0 in the best of 5 division series, winning the first 2 games, as you recall, out in San Francisco. They jumped out to a lead in the first inning of Game 3. This place was rocking. They end up losing by a single run and then lost the next 2. The Giants, of course, would go on to win the World Series. Still see it like it was yesterday. Hunter Pence in a football-like huddle down in that Giant dugout, getting his team all fired up before the games. Here we begin the third, 0-0. Our count. Sanchez to be followed by A.J. Burnett, then back to the leadoff man in Harrison. DeSclafani has only allowed 1 base runner. That was a 2-out walk to McCutchen in the opening inning.
Nice changeup right there. In fact, this is the best changeup I think that DeSclafani has shown. Had a nice slider a couple of times in the spring. I did not see this changeup have this much action on it. Great arm action. Coming into 85 miles an hour with a lot of depth. You know, the one thing you notice about where Anthony DeSclafani sets up, unusual for a lot of right-handers to be way over on the third base side of the rubber. And that really helps his slider a little bit. It gives you a little bit better perspective from the hitter standpoint when you're over there at third. And I asked him about it in spring training. That's one of the reasons why he says he's over there. He's learned to be able to throw that ball low and away to right-handers from that spot. That's not an easy thing for most right-handed pitchers to do.
You were starting to break down some of his mechanics before the final out in the last inning. Like to see you get back to that. So would some of the others, besides of just where he sets up on the rubber, as you were talking about. But you were starting to talk about how his arm, correct me if I'm wrong here, is a little slower coming through and a little bit of deception with that delivery.
Well, if you watch his hip action as he gets his leg up and starts to go to the plate, he's got a little bit of a move where he kind of tilts his hip just about right in here. And when he does that, that has a tendency to kind of hesitate a little bit. He's got kind of a long arm swing, but I think that's where some of the deception is. And of course, pitching for the most part, unless you're throwing as hard as Aroldis Chapman, it's all about deception anyway.
Strike 1 to Harrison. He flied out to Jay Bruce leading off the game. So 1 time through the batting order here in DeSclafani's Reds debut. It's only his 6th major league start. And he allows just the lone walk in the opening inning to Andrew McCutchen, and now tries to put away Harrison and make it back-to-back perfect innings. 0-2.
Well, he's got to feel so much more relaxed now than he did in the very beginning of the game. Anytime you pitch your first game for a new team, guy trying to stay in the rotation, you know, earn his big league job.
Well, it's back-to-back perfect innings. He's retired 7 in a row. Cozart, DeSclafani, and Hamilton coming up. No score. The ball play. Reds and the Cardinals in the first of 3. Stick around for our first post-game Fireworks Friday show of the year, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Call for tickets at 381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/tickets. By the way, because of the ordinance here in town and the game ending at 2 o'clock in the morning last night, canceling the fireworks, fans can exchange ticket stubs dated from yesterday and receive half off a non-premium ticket for any Monday through Thursday game the rest of the year.
It's a good deal.
It's a real good deal. It's very, very thoughtful of the Reds to their fans to do that. Zach Cozart against Burnett. In there, a strike. You know, in between innings, I asked you the question, Chris, a little while ago about defensive shifts in the minor leagues. And I received a text from a young man, Steve Jarnicki. He's working his way up in the broadcast world. Really good young announcer. He said working in the minor leagues all the way down to Double-A, the last year or two has seen a lot more defensive shifts, even at that level of baseball. No doubt, as you pointed out, they're not, privy to as much information as Major League Baseball teams are. Every game virtually on TV. A lot of teams still send out advanced scouts and so forth. Cozart a ground ball to his counterpart, 4 out, number 1.
I think from the defensive standpoint, it would be nice to have some shifts done for your team so that when that player, maybe he's a second baseman or third baseman, he gets the major league, he's used to playing out of position, so to say. So that second baseman is used to making a play from right field, and how he has to maybe speed up his catching and throwing action to be able to get a runner at first base by playing so deep. If you start putting all the shifts together and the defensive metrics that teams use, you're wondering if it's just not easy. I can't say easier now, but it's simpler anyway to be a good pitcher than it used to be. Because you've got guys, I remember when you would give a ground ball up the middle, that was a base hit 100% of the time. I mean, unless Davey Concepcion or Larkin or Ozzie Smith was there to make the terrific play behind the bag. Really rarely, if ever, saw dramatic defenses move around based on where hitters actually hit the ball. Now you do, and of course it just gives the pitchers another advantage that they've already. A lot of people think they've got too many already.
1-2 to DeSclafani. Breaking ball in the dirt. Look where Polanco's playing in right field, even to the extent of a pitcher. Now it's not like they have a lot of information on DeSclafani as a hitter, but look where Polanco is playing in right.
The team that used to do that was Bobby Cox's Atlanta Braves.
Sure.
Because they're betting that if he hits the ball hard, he's probably going to pull it. So that's where Marte out. He's pretty much playing a little shallow, but he's playing a regular left field. McCutcheon's playing around right center, but they figure if he's going to hit it to right, he's not going to drive it that way. It's going to be a little flare.
Comes up empty on a high fastball, and the first 2 retired by Burnett. He now has 3 strikeouts in the game. All right, GS bringing the energy. How about Billy Hamilton against these Pirates? He has an 11-game hitting streak, batting nearly 400. Look at the stolen base total in 11 games. Wow. pretty stiff breeze begins to blow here in Cincinnati. Blowing out towards left center field. Two balls and a strike on Hamilton. Votto waits on deck. And a check swing. Did he go around? They appeal no. Says Sam Holbrook. 3 balls and a strike to Billy Hamilton.
AJ not happy with that call.
First walk of the game issued by the Pirate right-hander. So now Hamilton will certainly get the engine warm. With 2 outs in the inning, will certainly try and get into scoring position rapidly, one would assume.
Well, teams really throughout the course of A.J. Burnett's career have run at will on him. Last year when he was with the Phillies, they stole 33. They had only 9 thrown out. So holding runners has never been his best part of his game. We wonder if Votto may give him a pitch or 2 to go on and then see if they can get him in scoring position.
Billy 4 out of 4 in stolen base attempts to begin the year. He had 3 of the 4 last night. There he goes, and they pitch out. They guess right, and they still can't throw him out. Mind-boggling speed for Billy Hamilton.
And it really was. It wasn't an exceptionally big lead. It was a pitch out all the way, but everything has to go perfectly. And that throw being on a little bit of the shortstop side of second base, it took Harrison, the third baseman who was covering, just an extra second longer to get that tag down, and that's why Hamilton is safe. Sliding to the outside of the bag buys him an extra millisecond. Man.
Joey a chance to knock in the game's first run. He grounded to the shortstop his first time up. "20 stolen bases for Billy Hamilton against the Pirates." Of course, he's gotten on base, as we showed you some of the numbers, a lot more against the Pirates and some of the others in the Central. Remember at the beginning of last year, the Reds opened against the Cardinals. Stepped away from the Cardinals, played the Mets, and played the Cardinals again. I believe the Cardinals have really good pitching. They did last year and appear so again this year. And it was a rough start for Hamilton. Two and two now on Votto. But then when Billy kicked it into gear, and you talked about how good he was in the first half of the season, especially in June, when he hit .327, and the Reds went 18-10 in the month of June. A number of those games were against his Pirate team. Two to Votto. Inning over. A walk. Hamilton stranded at second base. End of 3, still no score.
Ohio. I'm Jim Day. We told you on opening day this ownership group has put $5 million into the ballpark and have really added to the fan experience. One of the new things you'll see at the ballpark is the Bootleggers Bar. It's on the main concourse on the first base side. And this is a historical design. It's a walk-in bar, and it's reminiscent of a Cincinnati speakeasy from the early 1900s. Fans get the old-time Cincy feel without creating lines on the concourse. If you've been to a game, you know probably the most congested area in the ballpark was that first base concourse on the main concourse. And this allows fans to go into the bar, and it is a really, really cool addition. I cannot wait for a day that we have off that I can actually go in and sit in that bad boy and take in the game. Also, the fans have already realized it's a pretty good place to kill a rain delay as well. So Great American Ballpark continues to get better with age.
Yeah, and that's really the start of it, Jim. You bring up a great point about bootleggers there, but all around the entire main concourse, it has been completely revamped with a vintage look of old Cincinnati and Crosley Field, and they have just done an amazing job in this place. Of course, this will be the home to Major League Baseball's All-Star game in July. But that is one thing about the Reds organization. Among so many things it does so well, they really do have the fan experience in mind as soon as the season is over about what they can do to make this a better experience and a better ballpark moving forward to the following year. Every year they've done it, not just because they have the All-Star game. Every year something has been added. Pirates get their first hit against DeSclafani. A single by Polanco to begin this fourth inning of a scoreless game. McCutchen a big swing and a foul ball back. Prior to that base hit, McCutchen the only Pirate to reach against a Reds right-hander, drawing a 2-out walk in the opening inning. Runner goes, and Mesoraco could not find the handle. 2 out of 2 in this series in stolen base attempts is Polanco.
Well, they stole 14 last year, so the Pirates are a team that can run, but they have more team speed overall. I'm not so sure you're going to see McCutchen go out there and steal 30 bases again in a year, but that slack may be taken up by Polanco. Overall, they've got a pretty athletic team, especially athletic outfielders.
Anthony going through this Pirate lineup now for a second time. A leadoff single, a stolen base. Nobody out in a scoreless game in inning number 4. 2-2 on Andrew McCutchen.
First time they've had a runner at second. They want to make sure they've got their signs right.
Shallow center field. Who wants it? Phillips fell down and still able to make the catch from his knees. How about that?
How about some style points?
Also a little bit of lady luck right there. Talked about the wind picking up. You fall down and that could easily just blow right by you.
Well, he knew he had
Four-time Gold Glove winner.
He knew that he had to catch it because he had called it early on and everybody had kind of just backed off.
Now left-handed batting Neil Walker. And it's in there a strike. Left-handed batting against the right-handers. Walker is a switch hitter. 0-1 the count. And now 0-2 on Walker, who flied out to left field his first time up. Joe's starting to say it looks like Polanco might be itching a little bit, thinking about trying to steal third. Nothing in 2 on Walker, just off that outside corner. Inning began with a single by Polanco. He stole second. DeSclafani gets the pop up to McCutchen and now puts away Walker on that slider down and in. His 4th strikeout of the afternoon, 2 away.
He's got the slider working very nicely. I think that's his 4th strikeout on that slider. Maybe 3rd. I think he got 1 on a changeup, but that slider is a good pitch for him.
So 1 more out to go to keep it a scoreless game here in the 4th for DeSclafani as the rain begins to fall. In the air, Jay Bruce coming hard. Votto backing up, and that's it. That's a nice piece of pitching right there by young Anthony DeSclafani. A runner at second, heart of the order up. Retires him 3 in a row, including a dandy by Brandon. Performer is Todd Frazier. Why not? Broke the 2-2 tie with a 3-run big fly here on opening day. Reds winning by that margin, 5-2, curtain call and all. And then his very next at bat the next night, a home run to left field. And for Frazier, the long ball against the Pirates is nothing new. 14 of them against Pittsburgh, and you see the numbers inside the division thereafter. Unfortunately, for now a 3rd consecutive day to begin this season, play will be stopped due to rain. Of course, all through the entire Midwest, that has been the story pretty much all week long. April is that 1 month a year Mother Nature will tease you. The weather we had a week ago, sunny, 70, 68 right in there. And all of a sudden you'll have a 3 or 4 day stretch where seemingly it rains all day, every day. And the old adage about April showers and May flowers. And when all of these various fronts are rolling through wherever it is you might be, you know, it's very tough on those that are trying to predict the weather, because you have, you know, maybe pockets here, pockets there surrounding the area. I mean, you have the radar up right here right now, and it looks like it's completely surrounded Cincinnati, but there's a big block empty spot over the city, which, you know, the old eye test tells you it's raining.
Well, you're right, you know, but I think you have to protect Tom against some of those really heavy thunderstorms that all of a sudden pop up and they can drop an inch of rain on you in just next to no time. And when that happens, then if you don't get the tarp down in time, the field becomes completely unplayable. So I think that's what they're trying to do here. Hopefully Daniel DeSclafani will be able to handle it just the way that Johnny Cueto did on opening day. He came back and actually threw the ball better in the second time around.
We brought up yesterday about all the rain delays, the Reds, and they weren't the only one. I mean, you talk to the Cardinal folks, you talk to the Pirate folks, as we did before the game today. Seemingly everybody went through this same thing this time a year ago. 23 rain delays the Reds had last season. 15 of the 23 were here. And at Great American Ballpark, he had all those 15 delays to the tune of 18 hours and 11 minutes. We had a 2-hour and 35-minute delay before we started last night. And what, about a 40-minute delay midway through opening day on Monday.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because even in spring training, the Reds had one game rained out there when it rained in Goodyear, Arizona, something that doesn't do very often.
No.
But when it does, it rains pretty hard. And how would you like to be watching this game or a game from Chicago or Pittsburgh or St. Louis here in the spring when you could get any number of inches of rain in 24 hours and you're in the state of California, where they're so starved for water that they're fining people for taking showers that are too long.
Our old friend, the governor, Greg Schulte, is dialed in, the longtime radio voice of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Said all of a sudden, all those days we were in Arizona, it was 88, 92, 97. Last 4 days in Arizona, he says sunny and 72 degrees.
Wow.
He's dialed into Reds baseball today. Good man, the governor.
Sure is.
Oh, yeah.
Is he your pally?
Better believe it, pal. Well, we're going to find out what we might be expecting, so we will take a commercial break. Jim Day, we understand, is the man, as he always is, on the spot, trying to get the latest update as to how long we may be waiting. Scoreless game. Reds coming to bat here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. We'll be right back. It's nice to see Jim Day marching around down there in his Fox Sports Ohio very fancy rain gear. I think Fox Sports Ohio provided him with that rain gear last year. Ray Searage, Pirate pitching coach, having a conversation down there with the home plate umpire Bill Welke, and here come the Pirates with A.J. Burnett walking out of their dugout, which tells you he did indeed get warmed up underneath.
Or maybe just as a veteran that he is, he put himself into a mindset to get himself ready to come back out here. You really never know. I mean, this guy is very creative. Been called somewhat of a contrarian throughout his major league career. But you can't deny anytime you put 16 years in as a major league pitcher, you're doing something right.
Burnett had a 1-2-3 opening inning. He allowed the 2 hits before getting the double play ball in the second. Gave up a 2-out walk to Billy Hamilton in the third. Billy stole second, which, by the way, Hamilton now 4 out of 4 in stolen base attempts through the first 2.5 games on the year. But he struck out Joey Votto looking, leaving a runner in scoring position for the second straight inning. 3, 4, and 5 coming up for the Reds here in the fourth. Frazier, Mesoraco, and Jay Bruce. Our steel power tool performer, we were talking about Todd Frazier and the way he has worn out Pirate pitching, especially in regard to the long ball. 54 games, 14 home runs. Cardinals come to town tomorrow. They're next up on that list. Then we go to Chicago, St. Louis, and Milwaukee on the next road trip.
Well, he's off to an excellent start with that long ball. In fact, he came very close to having another one last night. It seemed like it just curved just before it got to the foul pole deep in left field. You think the first pitch after a long rain delay is something that you just ought to think about fastball jumping right on? Let's take a look. I think you should. Not sure what that was.
A rain delay officially of 1 hour and 14 minutes. We waited 2 hours and 35 minutes to get started last night.
They're trying to get one of the scoreboard lights off in dead center field. That's what the home plate umpire Bill Welke ran over and talked to one of the coaches, I think Jay Bell, and evidently distracting to the hitter.
And they found the switch, clicked it over in the off position, and we're back to baseball. So a 1 hour and 14 minute rain delay and a 45-second scoreboard delay.
You're right there with the most minute facts, keeping track of everything.
Most of them mindless.
Perfect fit.
2-1 to count on Frazier. Frazier hit the ball very hard back up through the middle. It's something we spent a little time talking about. How every batting coach, not home, high school, college, professional baseball, talk to hitters over and over and over again about hitting the ball back up through the middle. But with the Pirates and all their defensive shifts, look where the second baseman is. And that's where Frazier hit the ball his first time up, a routine out.
Now that might answer the question whether Anthony DeSclafani comes back after an hour rain delay. Looks like he's ready, set to go in the dugout.
Josh Harrison, the third baseman, will throw out Frazier. One gone to begin the Reds' fourth inning in this scoreless game. And it's starting to rain again. One batter after a 1 hour and 14-minute rain delay. And Mother Nature is not quite finished. Oh, that month of April in the heartland.
You may have to get your ground crew out this week to cut your grass a couple times.
Ella and Luke are pretty close to being that age where they can handle it. Dad will get him started, and we'll see how it goes thereafter. A ball and a strike on Devin Mesoraco. He singled his first hit of this young season through the hole into left field, leading off the second inning. I have asked you before, but for those that perhaps missed it, being out there on the mound, the rain coming down, does it affect your grip of the baseball?
The grip, no. The footing, yes. Of course, the whole field has been covered during most of the rain, so even the mound area right now is not all that wet. But eventually, that mud becomes very sticky, gets into your cleats, and you slide just an inch or two when you land, and that can throw a pitch off. But as far as the grip, no problem.
Holding the bat could be a different story. Mesoraco out of there on strikes, and the Pirate bench scatters as that bat comes flying into it.
Well, you can see the rain coming down. Our phantom cam look at this whirly bird by Mesoraco.
Coming down pretty hard now. We were told when the rain initially started, looking at the weather and the weather map and the radar, that the delay could be at least 2 hours. It was 45 minutes short of that. And one batter after we resume play, the rain starts again. Ball, one strike on Jay Bruce. He struck out his first time up. On the inside corner for Burnett to get ahead 1-2.
First fastball he's seen in the strike zone this afternoon.
Three hopper to the shortstop, and the Reds retired in order. End of 4, DeSclafani v. Burnett in a scoreless duel. Showdown. The United States men's national team takes on Mexico. Reds have a 4-year unbeaten streak against their historic rivals. The USA does. That game will be from the sold-out Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It is indeed Anthony DeSclafani. After the 1 hour and 14-minute rain delay, as it was A.J. Burnett for the Pirates. No score. We begin the 5th inning. Pirates with 1 hit. Reds with a pair. Pedro Alvarez to be followed by Jordy Mercer and Tony Sanchez. 6, 7, 8 in Clint Hurdle's batting order. Alvarez struck out his first time up. Hit hard through the hole into right field, a base hit. Mercer hit the ball very hard his first time up. A line drive to the warning track. It was run down by Billy Hamilton, ending the Pirates' second inning. Strike 1. Hits a ball hard again that will fall in front of Hamilton. So after the lengthy rain delay, the Pirates with back-to-back hits against DeSclafani and the number 8 hitter Sanchez coming up. Sanchez struck out by DeSclafani, is only at bat in the 3rd. Alvarez, Mercer aboard, nobody out. And a foul ball out of play to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. DeSclafani has walked 1, fanned 4, allowed now 3 base hits and nary a run. Threw that fastball at 93 miles per hour up in the strike zone and right by the swinging and missing Sanchez. Burnett, the pitcher on deck. This is a very important batter in this inning, needless to say, for DeSclafani. Two and 2. Three balls and 2 strikes. That one just off the inside edge.
All fastballs in this at bat.
Here's a payoff pitch. Struck him out swinging. Got him with a slider.
Waited for the very last pitch to drop a slider. Good call by Mesoraco and a great execution by DeSclafani.
For a young pitcher, you love to see that with 2 on and nobody out. 3-2 count, not afraid to come with a breaking ball.
You're right. His breaking ball is kind of interesting. It's a real tight breaking ball. It doesn't have a lot of big break on it. It's not a slurvy kind of a slider. It's almost like a big cutter. the way it reacts, and he's got great arm action on it and is able to take some speed off of it and also get the hitter that way too.
If you're wondering what kind of hitter is A.J. Burnett, he struck out his first time up today. Career-wise, 113 the batting average. He does have 3 career home runs. Squares around a bunt and rolls it out there beautifully. Frazier, good throw to the covering Phillips. So second and third after the sacrifice. 2 are out in the inning. Harrison coming up. Well, we invite you to stay with us each and every game here on Fox Sports Ohio. Afterwards, we'll have Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. We'll give you a complete recap, interviews from the clubhouse, and much, much more. No score in the game, 2 out. And a kid from right here in Cincinnati, Ohio. A Princeton Viking and a University of Cincinnati Bearcat, Josh Harrison, the batter. Hit in the back on the very first pitch.
You know, you don't want to put a runner on right there, but you had a base open, and if you're going to miss your target by, say, a foot or foot and a half, better to be in off the plate than out over the center of the plate, at least in that situation. Polanco had a base hit on the first pitch he saw the last time up. It was a slider that he just kind of waited back on and hit for a base hit. I imagine, though, that after seeing DeSclafani come back after this rain delay, he's stuck with a lot of fastballs. He's only thrown a couple of sliders and off-speed pitches.
Polanco, not only the base hit, he also has hit a rocket right at Jay Bruce in right field. So he's had a pair of good swings in the game today against DeSclafani, and there have not been a lot of good swings against this Reds right-hander so far. One and 0 on Polanco. Bases loaded. Sounded like he broke his back. He did. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, we talked early on about DeSclafani and his favoring that 2-seam fastball down. It's got a lot of run on it. You get ground balls that way. But one thing that they've tried to get him to do a little bit in the spring is to elevate the 4-seamer, go up in the zone and get strikeouts with it. Of course, you're facing a hitter like Polanco, probably a good low ball hitter like most left-handers. You want to elevate that 4-seamer. He's got plenty of mustard on to do it.
Bases loaded, 2 are out, scoreless game, 1-1 pitch and a 1-hopper at Cozart, and we'll have to play to first, and the runner is safe. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Harrison going hard all the way first to second. It'll be an infield hit to knock in the game's first run.
I think a little indecision out there on the part of Zach Cozart. He thought that he had no problem being able to just flip it over to Brandon Phillips, who was there in time, but I think they were surprised as to how fast Harrison got to second base. So a hustling run here for the Pirates.
Well, that's a tough break for young Mr. DeSclafani. He should have been out of this inning. Instead, it's 1-0 Pirates, and he faces one of the best players in the game in Andrew McCutchen with the bases loaded. Strike 1. McCutchen has walked and popped up to Brandon Phillips in short center field. Now they'll get it right this time, and the inning is over. An infield hit drives in the game's first run. Reds trail the Pirates 1-0.
when they take on the Cardinals. Be one of the first 20,000 fans to receive a magnetic schedule and car magnet featuring Reds first baseman Joey Votto. It's presented by PNC Bank. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Yesterday, boys, I don't know if you noticed, but the Reds got the Wilson Defensive Team of the Year award, along with Johnny Cueto getting the Wilson Defensive Player of the Year award. So once again, another defensive award for one of the best defensive teams in the league. And unfortunately, as we just saw in the last half inning, a little cross up. Defense hurt him a little bit. We'll see if they can get it back.
You really do become so surprised when the Reds make any kind of a slip up defensively, because, hey, look, they have been among the best, if not the best, for a number of years defensively now. And it's so rare to see any sort of misplay.
Well, it was a misplay, no doubt, but I still think you have to give a lot of credit to Josh Harrison to getting down to second base as fast as he did. I think that they just surprised, they underestimated the speed of Harrison. And when you make your mind up that you're going one base and then you decide to go somewhere else, that takes you the time that you're often going to miss the play. I'm not saying the play shouldn't have been made. I'm just saying that got to give a little credit to hustle.
Sure. And hustle is part of the entire arsenal day in and day out for a first-time All-Star a year ago in Josh Harrison. Marlon Berggarn swinging, one away to begin the fifth. That is 6 strikeouts now for A.J. Burnett. He's throwing the ball very well today. Brandon's only at bat. He came up there with first and second and 1 out in the second. Hit a ground ball right at Mercer, which began a inning-ending double play. First pitch swinging. Lifted to Mercer in the air, this time 2 away. Well, you know the drill. If a Red were to hit a home run off that Toyota sign during our game today, Jacqueline Shanks from Independence, KY will win that beautiful Tundra. And you can register for your chance to win. Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Nine of the last 10 have been set down by A.J. Burnett. Cozart trying to bunt his way on. It's foul. Burnett is 7-6 record with an ERA at 3.7 in his career against the Reds. And that's coming while pitching with a number of different teams, going all the way back to his days with the Marlins, interleague play with the Yankees, Pirates in 12 and 13, Philadelphia a year ago. One ball, 2 strike pitch coming to Cozart, and we'll do it again. Reds and the Cardinals kicking off a 3-game weekend set tomorrow. 7:10. Normally we start that time during the week, but in the month of April the weekend games are day games. Talking primarily about Saturday, that'll be a 1:10 start. And Cozart out of there on strikes. 7 of them in the game now for Burnett through 5. And his Pirates own a 1-0 advantage. brought to you by Meyer. By your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, ranking 3rd in the nation on the U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals in America. End of 5, 1 run, 4 hits, and 5 left on base for the Pirates. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left for the Reds against A.J. Burnett. First pitch swinging to begin the inning is Neil Walker, and that'll be an easy play for Hamilton. Walker 0 for 3 in the game, and here comes Marte, who's 0 for 2. DeSclafani is due to lead off the bottom of the 6th inning. He's only thrown 65 pitches, and here we are in the 6th inning. And a lot of those came in the just completed 5th. You know, one of the more overlooked areas in the win last night for the Reds after their bullpen, or at least a couple of guys in the bullpen, got off to a bumpy start on opening day. Their bullpen really stepped up last night. Cingrani got charged with a run, but of course he was out of the game when Badenhop made his Reds debut as Marte has gone on strikes. Badenhop gave up the base hit that allowed the run, but all things considered, you get 5 1/3 innings out of your bullpen and you only give up 1 run. It's not too bad.
You're right about that, and they needed to step up, obviously, when you go an extra inning. That was a very good pitch, that last pitch by DeSclafani to Starling Marte. A changeup down and in. That is Johnny Cueto type stuff.
Alvarez, a drive in a deep left field. Bird at the wall, and that one is out of here. Alvarez, his first home run of the season, makes it a 2-0 Pittsburgh lead.
Well, the big left-handed hitter having a pretty good day where hits are tough to come by today. The Pirates have 5. He's got 2 of them, and he's come around to score both the runs.
That is the 2,500th career home run in this ballpark's history. In 2003, this ballpark opened. 2,500 home runs have been hit. One of the most, and on any given year, it has been the most hitter-friendly ballpark in all of Major League Baseball. The White Sox home field has served up the most home runs over the last handful of years. The Great American Ballpark is right on its heels.
Ballpark or ball players? Wasn't so home run friendly last year.
No, it was not. Cozart into short left, and that'll do it. But Alvarez plays long ball for the first time in this young season, giving his Pirates a 2-run lead.
Is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
The 2-run deficit, the largest the Reds have faced in this very young season. In fact, the Pirates have only had the lead for 1/2 of an inning through the first 3 games. And now a full inning after they came up with a run in the 5th, tacked on 1 more in the 6th. That's when they took the lead last night, 4-3 in the top of the 7th. But the Reds tied the game in the bottom of the 7th before winning it on the Votto base hit in inning number 11. Boy, what a very impressive Cincinnati Reds debut for the 24-year-old New Jersey native Anthony DeSclafani. 5 hits, 2 runs, walked 1 batter, struck out 6. Skip Schumacher will take over batting for DeSclafani. Bert Badenhop, right-hander, beginning to get loose in the Cincinnati bullpen. We'll see him more than likely in the 7th. So Schumacher, then Hamilton, then Votto to start things against A.J. Burnett, who's only given the Reds 2 hits so far. And now make it 3. Schumacher off the bench with a base hit into center field. That ends a string of 7 in a row retired by Burnett. And 10 of the last 11.
Good solid swing right there by Schumacher. Had a 1-1 count, got a breaking ball that was a little bit up and took it right back through the box. Look for a good healthy year out of Skip. The Reds really missed him last year after blowing out his shoulder, diving for a ball in spring training. Never really was the same.
Hamilton fights it off out of play, down strike 1. Billy struck out in the 1st inning. Walked against Burnett, stole second base, was stranded there in the 3rd. You know, we read so much, we hear so much about Billy Hamilton and all of the work and all of the time he spent with Delino DeShields, a very good player in the major leagues for a long time, who for the last number of years has been a manager in the Reds minor league system. In fact, this year he is now the skipper at AAA Louisville. About all the time they work on, among many other things, bunting. The one bunt we don't see a lot of from Hamilton is the one that might be best suited for this situation right here and right now.
The drag to first.
Yeah. Especially against a guy who's had a hard time defending the last couple of years, especially if Alvarez has to turn and try and throw the ball.
Oh, you're right. I'm not so sure that's part of Billy's arsenal yet, at least to the point where he feels comfortable doing it. He pushes the ball that way when he bats right-handed.
Nice play by Walker. They'll get 1, and that'll be all. But that's a good play, and it could turn out to be a very big play in this game.
Ball hit very sharply by Hamilton, and Walker takes a couple of steps and a dive. Getting the lead runner right there. I imagine it's only going to be a pitch or 2 before Hamilton tries to go to second base. He's already stolen 1 today on a pitch out. And I just don't believe that Burnett's got to move good enough to first base to tighten up that lead enough to discourage Hamilton from trying to steal. Sanchez has had some throwing problems in the past, the catcher.
Billy is perfect in the stolen base department so far. 4 of 4. Had 3 in the game last night.
I got to ask you, Tom.
5 out of 5, I beg your pardon. He had 3 last night, 1 in the opener, and the one here today.
With the Reds down by 2, I know the Hamilton's on. Joey Votto's the tying run. But the way that the Pirates are playing defense right now, is this a situation where Votto would consider putting a ball down the left field line, bunting a ball, and most assuredly getting first base?
Well, really, I think it's 2 different questions you're asking. If you're asking, do I think he will consider it? No would be the answer. If you're asking, should he consider it? That would be only left up to Joey Votto to decide. Hamilton running, and the pitch in the dirt, and Billy now 6 out of 6 in stolen bases.
Well, he figures on an 0-2 pitch. Burnett's going to go with that curveball down, and he guessed exactly right. That's where the pitch was. Sanchez couldn't handle it even enough to get off a throw.
So now a chance to get on the board. Votto had this chance in the 3rd inning with Hamilton at 2nd and 2 outs, and Burnett struck him out looking. Straight away center field. Back goes McCutchen at the wall. Goodbye, tie game.
That answers the punt question. Boy, he got a little spinner right there, a breaking ball that I'm sure Burnett would like to have back. Got a little bit too high, and Votto was right there, thought he had enough. McCutchen went right back to the wall. And not enough on that vertical leap to be able to bring it back, and Votto gets a game-tying homer.
Tell you what, you got to be very excited. It might only be, 2.5 games into this season, but Votto appears to look very, very good at the plate. Had a couple of huge RBIs in the game last night. One to tie the game in the 7th, one to win the game in the 11th, and now a game-tying 2-run home run. A.J. Burnett given the lead, and it is gone in the blink of an eye. This will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. 2-2 game. Game tying 2-run home run by Joey Votto chases A.J. Burnett. Votto, his first home run of the season. He now has 4 runs batted in. Caminero takes over on the mound. We saw him briefly last night. Came on for 1/3 of an inning. Only 6 games with the major league clubs a year ago. And Frazier in the air down the left field line. And this one will stay in the yard at the warning track. Just slightly too much underneath that one.
Votto was down 0-2 before he finally worked the count to 2-2 and got that breaking ball right there and hit it high, holding the pose right there and holding the bat, hoping he's got enough to get on it. And that's when it went over the wall, and Johnny Cueto saying, hey, why don't you teach me that swing?
Devin Mesoraco, a single to left field in the 2nd inning, struck out against Burnett in the 4th. And beat on a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Hey, the Pirates have some guys down in that bullpen that can light up that radar gun.
You know, he just came into the organization in February. He was property of the Florida Marlins. The Marlins decided to just go ahead and sell his contract to the Pirates, and the Pirates said yes. And they made Caminero one of the remodel projects that they've become very famous for over the last few years. They've got 2 pitching coaches in the organization that are considered the pitching guru level. Ray Searage at the big league level, and Jim Benedict, who was in spring training the entire time with the Pirates, but he stays down in Bradenton working with special projects. And they consider that the work that he has done with Caminero has been the deciding factor to make him maybe a big part of this Pirate bullpen.
Real nice sliding catch there by the first baseman Alvarez to retire Mesoraco. But after the home run by Alvarez put the Pirates in front 2-0 in the top of the inning, it is Votto who plays long ball to tie it in the bottom of the inning. Both starting pitchers are off the hook, and both of them threw the ball quite well here today. DeSclafani, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. Burnett was given the 2-0 lead and could not hold it, giving up the 2-run home run to Joey Votto before he left the game after 5 1/3 innings. So now it'll be Burt Badenhop taking over for the Reds.
32-year-old right-hander, born right here in the state of Ohio, in Perrysburg, Ohio, at the Bowling Green State University. That's where the Tigers selected him in the 14th round 2005 draft. Last year with the Boston Red Sox was in 70 games. Also been with the Florida Marlins for quite a long time. Broke into big leagues in 2008. Played for Tampa Bay. And a year with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Well, he is a big Ohio State Buckeyes fan, and so I'm not sure anybody around was more excited than Badenhop when we had Urban Meyer and Adolphus Washington and about 50 of those in some form or fashion, whether they be players, coaches, assistant coaches, administrators from the Ohio State University football team, the national champions, here last night.
There may have been one more excited.
I was excited to see Urban Meyer. I like Urban Meyer. I know that's where you were going.
How do you know I was just talking
Because
about
I know
you?
that's exactly where we're going. Known him for a number of years now. Had a chance to call 2 of his 3 national championship games, both of them while with the Gators. Three and 2 on the catcher, number 8 hitter Tony Sanchez. And Badenhop has walked the number 8 hitter after the Reds just tied the game. It didn't take long to get that phone ringing down in the Reds bullpen after the leadoff walk. Badenhop made his Reds debut last night with a runner at second base and 2 outs in the inning. Faced a pinch hitter Corey Hart. First pitch he threw. Hart knocked in a run with a single in the center. He retired Cervelli, the next batter, to end the inning. Andrew Lambeau, for the 3rd straight game, comes off the Pirate bench as a pinch hitter. Had the lengthy at bat, a 14 pitch at bat. It turned into a line drive to center field out against Kevin Gregg in the opener. This one blistered right at Jay Bruce. Reds caught a break there. I'd like to tell you that Fox Sports Live has all the highlights from opening day around baseball. All the news from the world of sports. That's all tonight at 11 on Fox Sports 1. 1 on, 1 out. Josh Harrison, the batter. Twice his fly to right, hit by a pitch in the 5th. And not only that, but it may not show up in the, obviously won't in the box score. But it was Harrison's hustle after getting hit by that pitch in the 5th, which loaded the bases. Where a one-hopper behind the bag, it was Harrison who was hustling all the way. Forced Cozart into originally thinking easy force play here. Once he looked up, Harrison was almost all the way to the bag. Zach had to recover and try and throw to first, where Polanco beat it out to drive in a run. Should be 2 here. And Badenhop gets that ground ball double play to end the inning after the leadoff walk. Bruce, Bird, Phillips coming up. Bottom of the 7th in a 2-2 game. Saturday of this season. And we'll be featuring the Todd Frazier bobblehead thanks to Coca-Cola. The first 25,000 fans will take home that bobblehead of the Reds All-Star third baseman. So 1:10 start time with the Cardinals in town, 381 REDS. Visit select Kroger locations, of course, Cincinnati, Ohio, the home of Kroger. Or you can log on to Reds.com/tickets. One of the many, many Fortune 500 companies based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, the Kroger Company. Well, we saw Caminero get the final 2 outs in the 6th inning behind A.J. Burnett, and now they bring on the left-hander Antonio Bastardo. We saw him in the game last night. Faced one batter and allowed a base hit. That was a game-tying single to right by Joey Votto in the 7th inning. Jay Bruce 3 of 6 in his career against Bastardo. All of those games while pitching for Philadelphia, with a home run for Bruce.
What so many left-handed relievers like to do, they pump that first pitch fastball in there, and oftentimes that's the last fastball a lefty sees. Bastardo no different, getting ahead with the heater, that drops a curveball.
That's good morning, good afternoon, and good night. A 3-pitch at bat, and Bruce is struck out to begin the 7th inning. Marlon Byrd a single into left field in the 2nd inning. A.J. Burnett struck him out swinging in the 5th.
These guys were teammates last year.
Couple of other games in action, only one in the National League, where Steven Strasburg was knocked around hard today by the New York Mets. Mets lead the Nationals bottom of the 8th inning in D.C. 6-2. Mets trying to win 2 out of 3 in that series to begin the season against a team that virtually everyone is picking to win the National League East, and a lot of them are picking to win the National League pennant, the Washington Nationals. This was called a strike, saying he went too far. Reds are expecting, in fact they're downright counting. Nobody's going to come out and say it, because you're always, not wanting to put direct pressure on any one player in particular. At least that's the line of thinking for many in baseball management circles. But the Reds are depending, they are indeed counting on Marlon Byrd to deliver some very good numbers for them out in left field this year.
At least power numbers and RBI numbers. I'm not so sure they expect a high batting average out of Byrd, but he hit 25 home runs last year, and that's kind of the starting point, is what they'd hope to see in this ballpark.
Down the right field line. Did he get enough of this one? And it's in foul ground, and a nice play made by Polanco. Well, I tell you what, you brought it up earlier how athletic this Pirate outfield is, and they are that.
It's like having 3 center fielders out there.
That is the one area of this ballpark where a right-handed batter can steal, get away with one down that right field line. We've seen a lot of them through the years here in this ballpark at only 325 feet. Brandon Phillips now the batter, 2 down, nobody on. 2-2 game. Last of the 7th inning, the Reds are gunning for the 3-game sweep of their division rivals to begin this 2015 season. Two and two on Brandon Phillips. Zach Cozart waits in the on-deck circle. 2 down, nobody on. Bastardo following Caminero, who finished off the 6th inning in relief of starter A.J. Burnett. 3-2. Bastardo the pause, and now the payoff pitch coming to Brandon Phillips. Line into center field. It will fall in front of McCutchen. A 2-out hit for Brandon, and the Reds have the go-ahead run aboard.
Most solidly hit ball that Brandon has hit so far in the first 3 games.
And really the deepest at bat he's had in the first 3 games so far.
He's had a lot of at bats where he went after the first pitch and put it in play. Good to see.
Cozart 0 for 2, 1 of 8 on the year. He has a double. Of course, there was a time as a much younger man when Brandon Phillips would get on base and you'd be thinking about trying to get to second right quick. 157 stolen bases as a Red by Brandon Phillips. And you take 7 of those away that have come total in the last 2 years. So he had a stretch here where he stole 150 bases in a 7-year time frame. 4 years in a row of over 23. 1 year better than 30. That's when he was a 30-30 player. 30 or more home runs, 30 or more stolen bases in the same year in 2007.
I see he's wearing a little protection on his left hand right there. He had a thumb injury, had surgery last year, and you see a lot of base stealers that are wearing that. Brandon's no longer much of a base stealer, but wants to make sure that he protects his hand at all costs. And not only for guys that slide head first, but you can hurt your wrist. Kind of brace yourself if you slide wrong, feet first.
Straight up into the air off the bat of Cosart to McCutchen, and he squeezes it tightly to end the 7th inning. So we navigate our way to the 8th in a 2-2 game. Right-hander Anthony DeSclafani, and my oh my was he impressive. 6 innings, 5 hits, only 2 runs. Struck out 6 and walked 1. He allowed a 2-out solo home run in the 6th inning to Pedro Alvarez to make it a 2-0 Pirates lead. But Anthony taken off the hook in the bottom of the inning when Joey Votto clubbed a 2-run home run to the deepest part of right center field off A.J. Burnett. And that's where we stand here at the end of 7. Pitching as you expect with these two teams. Over the last handful of years, they've both been very, very good pitching teams, among the best in all the National League. And that really is held true in this series. Cueto was sensational in the opener. Liriano was very, very good. Leak a little bit off last night, and Cole probably not nearly as sharp as he will be sometime down the road. But both bullpens were very good. And now to be Jumbo Diaz following a scoreless inning from Badenhop.
You know, all 3 of these games have been very tight, both in score-wise, the way the pitching has been, the defense has been good, and really, quite frankly, the games could have gone either way. I'm sure both managers sit back thinking, hey, we were fortunate to win, or we were unfortunate to lose that game. Jumbo Diaz jumped on the scene last year after a 10-year minor league career, mainly with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And you've told the story many times, Tom, about how he's lost an incredible number of pounds in order to get himself into pitching shape. He's dialing it up there in the mid to high 90s, and he's become a very important go-to guy for Brian Price.
And you know, he looks like, Chris, he's trying to become an even more important part of that bullpen.
Well, I mean, he's had a taste of the major leagues, and he is just so appreciative of the opportunity to be on a big league roster.
Boy, he just wore out Polanco. That fastball at 97 on the outside corner.
Well, there's good location and there's good stuff, and when you put them together, that's what you get. Our flamethrower brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce.
Jumbo got the win here on opening day. It's when the Reds had to use 3 pitchers to get through that 8th inning where the Pirates tied the game. Diaz came on to strike out Marte to end the inning. Then the Reds got the 3-run home run by Frazier. Chapman nailed it down. Jumbo the winner. And Diaz a perfect inning here last night. A little bit of a hanger there. Got away with it to Andrew McCutchen. It's 0-2. Jim Day will have more on this Reds bullpen here in a moment. Talked about all the guys that threw the ball so well here last night in that 11-inning marathon, including J.J. Hoover, who came away with the victory. Hoover working a pair of innings last night. Gave up an infield hit to the first batter he faced in the 10th. Retired the next 6. Two and 2 on Andrew McCutchen.
Now we know Jumbo by Jumbo. That was a nickname that he acquired when he was playing minor league ball with the Dodgers. His given name is Jose Rafael Diaz, but his real nickname back at home in La Romana, Dominican Republic, is Booty, given to him by his brother. That is spelled B-U-T-Y, a name that was given him when he was just a little toddler.
Well, he gave a little booty right there to Andrew McCutchen. And for more on this Reds bullpen, here is Jim Day.
A couple bright spots out of this bullpen has been Booty on the mound, getting that win on opening day. And last night it was so late, many people might not have saw the outing that J.J. Hoover had. It was 2 innings pitch of scoreless baseball. He got the victory, snapped a personal 10-game losing streak, his first win since opening night of last year. Brian Price went out of his way after the game last night to praise Hoover's mental toughness. J.J. participates in social media, and let's face it, after last year, they beat him up pretty good on there. And Brian Price said that the fans just won't let J.J. forget about last year, and he was proud of him, the way he handled the situation and the way he came back last night. One appearance does not a season make, but I think, Tom, you said it best last night. If anyone needed to get off to a good start, it's J.J. Hoover, and he did so last night.
Yeah, and the reason is because of what you just said, Jim Day, the fans. And you know what? You can understand the fans being upset with J.J. Hoover last year. I mean, you lose 10 games in a row out of the bullpen, and you're not going to win a lot of friends. But we've talked about it many times. Hoover is one of the more likable young men on this Reds team, and they really have a lot of those kind of guys on it. So it'd be great to see him get it back together and throw like he did in 2013 when he was really good.
Well, if you only get friends when you pitch well, those aren't the kind of friends you need.
True.
I think his teammates were behind him all the way last year, and hopefully they won't have to be tested this year.
Sinking liner, and it will fall in fair. Just a little floater off the bat of Neil Walker, but it's good enough for a 2-out double. And Marte coming up with a go-ahead run in scoring position here in the Pirates' 8th. Well, we told you the only out that Diaz needed to get on opening day was a strikeout. And here's the man he struck out, Starling Marte. It's a wicked slider right there for strike 1. Jumbo now ahead at 1-2 strikes. A manager will take a win whenever they can get a win, and whatever it takes to get that win. But sometimes you need a fast win. Early in the year, the Reds do not have an off day until a week from today. They had the 11-inning game last night. So they've used a lot of guys consecutively. Diaz pitching for the 3rd straight game to begin this season, and he's just getting warmed up. So the skipper would love to see a run on the board here in the bottom of the 8th and put this one away in the 9th. We're tied at 2. Every game right here on Fox Sports Ohio with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow we come your way at 6:30. Then it'll be the Reds and the Cardinals to begin a 3-game series. John Lackey for the Redbirds. Jason Marquis, the one-time Cardinal, will lock up tomorrow night. Marquis is Reds debut. Great matchup on Saturday, a 1:10 start. Cueto v. Waka. And then Raisel Iglesias makes his major league debut against hard-throwing Carlos Martinez. Another 1:10 start Sunday. 2-2 here. Reds bat in the 8th inning against Tony Watson. And we're talking about Jumbo Diaz pitching in all 3 games of this series. The same old's true for the left-hander Watson. He suffered the loss on opening day.
Yeah, Watson was in 78 last year. This year on a pace for 162.
Christopher Negron, a fly ball down the right field line, and that's right where they had him played. 1 away. Well, the Pirates had a good thing going last year in that bullpen with a couple of left-handers. They had Watson, and they also had Justin Wilson. But they traded Wilson to the Yankees to get Francisco Cervelli.
Well, I think anybody that watched both of them would have said that Watson was a guy that was probably worth keeping. Had a brilliant year last year, 10-2 with an earned run average of 1.6.
But it was a nice luxury to have that other guy rushing it up there about 97, 98 in Wilson.
Well, you're right, and I think that they thought that by making a deal back in December for Antonio Bastardo, that was the best that they could do to replace Wilson.
Sure.
So that they would have 2 go-to left-handers in the pen. Usually you save your better one for later. like the Reds do.
Now Votto, the game-tying home run, his last time up. That was in the 6th against A.J. Burnett. He wasn't sure when it left the bat, and it cleared the wall by just that much.
Home sweet home.
Only the shortstop remains on the left side of the infield. And a fastball from Watson up and away. Watson allowed the single to Votto with Hamilton aboard in the 8th inning of a 2-2 game in the opener on Monday. And then after Hamilton stole third, Frazier clubbed a 3-run home run to break the tie en route to the 3-run win. Inning over. 1-2-3 for Watson. We head to the 9th. Pirates 2, Reds 2 here on Fox Sports Ohio. Here at Great American Ballpark, we'll have our first post-game fireworks Friday presented by United Dairy Farmers. And for tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/tickets. Another tight one between the Pirates and the Redlegs. And the Reds are going to bring on their closer for what is now 3 straight days. Flame-throwing Aroldis Chapman.
And I think what's significant about this, Tom, is that Brian Price has determined that this is a ball game, a winnable ball game, and they're so close to the end. Playing at home right now, you may not get a chance to use Chapman tomorrow. You may not get a chance to use him, over the weekend, depending on how the starters go. So you have a reason to use him right now, so you go ahead and do it. You're probably not going to use him 4 days in a row, so I imagine there's a couple of Cardinals hitters sitting around right now saying, thank you very much for bringing him in here on Thursday.
It's easy to forget. It is 3 games in a row, but they did have the off day. So, yes, it is his 3rd game of the year. First one came Monday, day off Tuesday. Worked an inning last night, did Chapman. And we'll see when tomorrow comes. Tomorrow never promised. 0-1 to Alvarez. 0-2. 2 hits, 3 at bats for the Pirate first baseman, including a home run to left field off DeSclafani in the 6th inning. We did not see Kevin Gregg, the right-hander, out of the Reds bullpen over 11 innings last night. Nor did we see left-hander Manny Parra. Parra, in fact, has only thrown one pitch. That was in the season opener. He allowed a base hit and was taken out of the game. Alvarez gone swinging. Ho-hum for Chapman. One away in the ninth.
Jumbo Diaz came in and struck out the side in the eighth. Chapman on his way now. Last year had an incredible 17 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Became the first reliever in the history of baseball to average 17 strikeouts per 9 innings, but that wasn't the only accomplishment that was a major league first for Chapman. Strike one to Mercer. We told you, first pitcher ever, starter or reliever, to go through an entire year with an average fastball in triple digits. And the first reliever ever with a strikeout in 40 consecutive appearances. Should be out number 2. Three different seasons Chapman ranking in the top 6 all time, or since 1914. Strikeouts per 9 innings. Sanchez with 2 down and nobody on. Strike one. Look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning. Frazier, Mesoraco, and then Jay Bruce. Two balls and a strike on Sanchez. Now the fans want to see Chapman get the strikeout, get out of the inning, and at the same time get a free pizza. Chapman blows away Sanchez, fanning 2 of 3 in a perfect ninth. Frazier, Mesoraco, Bruce, a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th inning. Dealers, proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. Bottom of the 9th inning, Great American Ballpark on this Thursday afternoon. Reds won the opener 5-2 on a dramatic home run in the 8th by Todd Frazier. Joey Votto tied the game in the 7th inning with a base hit, won the game in the 11th inning with a base hit. Reds fell behind today 2-0. Votto a 2-run home run to tie it in the 6th. And here we are in the bottom of the 9th inning. Gung takes over at shortstop for Mercer, part of a double switch. Taking over on the mound, threw the ball very well here last night. Allowed a hit, struck out 2, no runs in an inning. Rob Scahill.
The Pirates acquired him as part of that bullpen remake over the wintertime. They got him early in the winter in November when they made a deal with the Colorado Rockies. Scahill had parts of 3 different seasons with the Rockies.
Frazier, the home run on opening day. A home run his first at bat yesterday, nearly had a second later in the game, just fouled. Today 0 for 3. Back-to-back breaking balls, staying away from the heat. That ball, and we had said it just before he hit it, foul. Caminero came in throwing 100 miles an hour, and Frazier hit one a ton. Bending foul down the left field line, and this one driven into left center field, and it will one-hop the wall. Frazier into second base with a double, and that's the way we started here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Boy, Todd looks like he just locked in. Just a nice, easy swing. Notice how the head is perfectly still. And just throws those hands at the bat head of the ball. He finds a gap in left center field. And now you got to figure out a way if you're Devin Mesoraco to get that winning run over to third base. Boy, these have been good games, each and every one of them.
We talked about the 38 one-run losses by the Reds a year ago. Most in the major leagues. Talked about last night, extra innings. Waiting a long time, 2.5 hours to even start the game due to rain. And the mentality of the mental toughness to will yourself to win these games, something the Reds could not do a year ago. They've done it each of the first 2 games in this series. Two 2-0 on Devin Mesoraco, winning run at second base. Ooh. Takes a fastball right down the can on 2-0. Little dribbler that will advance a runner on to third. So while that's not his intent, that is the end result. Jay Bruce 0 for 3, 2 for 9 to begin the year. The Pirates will bring their infield in, their outfield in. But Bruce won't get a chance to swing the bat. They'll intentionally walk him and take their chances with Marlon Byrd. The trio of Mesoraco, Bruce, and Byrd, the slowest starters so far in this Reds batting order. Mesoraco has 1 hit. Bruce has 2 hits. Marlon Byrd has 2 hits in his first 12 at-bats as a Red.
Well, the thing that's working for the Reds right here is that Rob Scahill is not really a ground ball pitcher, at least in the abbreviated times that he's been up here in the major leagues. And that's what he's looking for right now. I'm still not convinced, even where that Pirates outfield is playing, whether they're playing shallow enough to be able to throw Todd Frazier out in the event that Marlon Byrd hits a short to medium fly ball. I mean, you've got to play very shallow. So Marlon, of course, the objective is just to put the ball in play and get it in the outfield.
Runners on the corners. That's a winning run standing at third with one away in the bottom of the ninth. And a line drive caught, dropped, and the Reds have swept the Pirates the first 3 games of this 2015 season. T-Mobile game changer. Boy, it lined up perfectly for the Pirates until the drop.
Well, you're not kidding about that. What we talked about is a very athletic outfield. Gregory Polanco's got a chance to catch his ball really about knee high, and he just muffs it. Frazier was going back to the bag, probably had determined whether he was even going to try to go and advance on that. It'll go as a T-Mobile game changer, an error, but a win for the Reds as they sweep 3 in a row from the Pirates to get this 2015 season underway.
What a start for the Reds. 38 one-run losses, most in the majors a season ago. And they've won one-run decisions in each of the last 2 nights. Let's check in downstairs with Jeff Piccolo.
Well, thank you very much, Tom, here with Marlon Byrd. And Marlon, you had a fantastic spring. I think you had a lot of choices in the offseason and decided to come to Cincinnati, and it's paid off so far. This had to be sweet, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's been a tough 2 days as far as, the games, the rain, and all of that. But, to get another one here, get a sweep with this good team right here is great for this team.
Marlon, this team lost 38 one-run games last year. You win half of those, you're right in the thick of things. You guys have won 2 straight one-run games. That shows the toughness and grit of this team, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we're trying to get back to the way the Reds always played. Every time I played against them when I was in the Central, just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, never give up, and just battle and grind it out.
You talked about how tough it was with all the rain delays and stuff, but how big was this for this team to overcome the rain delays and to overcome the Pittsburgh Pirates and to sweep them?
It shows our mental toughness, rain, sleet, snow, or hail, it doesn't matter. We're coming out to play. You got to keep that focus, and we have to do that for 162 games.
Finally, that last at bat, you're just looking at something to get out in the outfield there, aren't you?
Definitely, outfield grass. That's my approach all the time, and swing's been a little bit off. Been working with Don Long, talked to Jay Bell, made some fixes, and finally got one done.
Thanks, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Marlon Byrd, big play there, and as you said, Tom, they sweep the Pittsburgh Pirates. Back upstairs.
Well, if you're wondering when's the last time the Reds swept a 3-game series to start a season, Chris, how about 1990?
Well, 1990, they did it, obviously, when they started. That was when the season started late. At Houston, they opened the season at Houston Astros. They ended up going wire to wire. Big year to remember that year. 2005 versus the Mets. 2011, it all got going on opening day when Ramon Hernandez hit an opposite field home run off of John Axford. And then the Reds went on to win the first 5 straight, and now they have won 3 right out of the gate against the Pirates. The Pirates head out of town. The Cardinals are in town, and it'll be a big weekend series here against the Cardinals starting tomorrow night.
7:10 tomorrow night. Reds Live gets underway at 6:30. We invite you to join us. Tickets are available. Come on down to the ballpark. Reds are 3-0. And the Fox Sports Ohio condominium will be rocking with Reds Live when we return. Reds over the Pirates on this Thursday. 3-2 the final.